This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're better than the weather is today, to be honest with you. It is an absolutely miserable day here. Sleet and wind and rain and just all kinds of horribleness. And as you can probably tell from the lighting in this video, it's one of those days where it's really struggling to get properly light. Anyway, enough of that. What have I got for you today then, by way of a little weekend kind of lesson-y kind of thing? Well, basically this is a bit of an exercise that I often go through with some of my lead guitar students. In essence, it's similar to that video that Rick Beato did a few weeks ago, a little while ago, where he kind of took the idea, well, what if Peter Frampton had played the guitar solo on Stairway to Heaven? What if Eddie Van Halen had played the Stairway to Heaven guitar solo? What if Eric Johnson had played that solo? And just kind of reimagining that particular solo. And I've been doing this with my students for years, but the way it's slightly different. What we basically do is we pick apart a solo, like a well-known solo, and see what makes it tick. What scale is being used and what kind of things are going on that make that solo sound the way it does. And then I invite the students to come up with another solo of their own making that uses those same ingredients, basically using the same ingredients to cook a different meal, if you like. So today what I've done is I've given that treatment to the solo from Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits, which I did a video on a while ago. I'll link to that in the description, by the way, along with one or two other videos that are relevant to what we're talking about today. But for now, here is my take on the solo from Sultans of Swing. Completely different to the original, but using the same basic ideas. And then I'll explain what was going on. Okay then, so let's have a look at what it is that makes the original solo tick. Basically, the note choices to begin with are directed by the chord sequence, and there you can see what's going on underneath the solo. That's the sequence of chords that we're playing over. And if we take a look at the notes that are in those chords, you can see that the D minor has D, F and A, the C has C, E and G, B flat is B flat, D and F, F is F, A and C, and the A7th is an A, C sharp, E and G. So if we look at the totality of those notes, that gives us something known as the D Aeolian mode, with an extra note, the C sharp, that we can use whenever the A7th chord comes along. And that is largely what's happening in the original solo. Now, what you got to remember is that you can't just blaze away with that scale over the top of the chords and expect it to sound good. What you need to do is recognize that any piece of music, basically, be it a guitar solo or a Mozart symphony, is going to be consisting of long notes and short notes. And what you need to do over any given chord is make sure that the long notes are the notes that are within the chord. So if you're playing over a D minor chord, make sure that one of the kind of main notes in that lick that you're playing then is either a D, an F or an A, and so on. Okay, so here are some shapes for the D Aeolian mode, and you can see that they're evenly distributed along the neck, and the only note that isn't on there, because I sort of omitted it for the sake of clarity, is the C sharp note. But it's easy enough to find, because if you know where a C note is, then move up a fret, you've got C sharp. Or likewise, if you know where a D note is, move down a fret and you've got a C sharp. The other thing that really is, excuse me, I'm just firing up a metronome because I'm going to need that in a moment. The other thing that you can see here that's apparent in the original solo is that there are quite a few occurrences of quarter note triplets or crotchet triplets. Now, basically, what does that mean? Well, it's a rhythmic device, it's a rhythmic trick. So I'm going to stick a metronome on, and first of all I'm going to play in quavers or eighth notes, which is a sort of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and rhythm, and then I'll switch into playing the quarter note triplets. Here we go. So hopefully you could hear the transition there from the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to the to the quarter note triplets. There's quite a few of those in the original solo, and I decided to throw a couple in as well. Other things that I sort of use, well, like a way that I use the scale there in the solo was, which Mark doesn't do, but I used a little bit of legato sort of technique. That kind of thing. I'm not going to go into all of the gory details about how to do that now, because I've covered it in a bit of depth in another video, which I shall link to in the description below. Also, there's a lick in the original solo where basically he plays this arpeggio shape. Like that. Okay, so that's actually a shape that I use a lot for sweep picking. I think I played a little sweep picking lick. Something like that at one point in the solo. Again, if you're curious about sweep picking, I've done a video on that in the past, and I'll link to that in the description below. But essentially what I did here was I used the same scale, made sure I was targeting chord notes in the same way as the original solo, and I used the quarter note triplets in the same way, well, not in the same way, but in a similar way to the original solo, and just took those basic elements that essentially make or go a long way to making the original solo sound the way it sounds, and remixed those ingredients into my own solo. So why not have a go yourself? And of course, up on my Patreon, there's the address, link in the description. You will find a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats for the solo that you heard me play there. There is also the jam track to play along with, and that little clip that you saw of me kind of playing the solo and explaining it, and those scale diagrams that you saw in that clip as well. You can download those and print those off should you need to refer to them. So that's pretty much it for today, folks. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of the wonderful Patreon supporters who chip in $3 a month to get these additional resources. It is massively appreciated. Thank you, chaps. It is, I'm so grateful, I can't tell you. And I'm, grateful to anyone who's thinking about doing that as well. Thank you in advance if that's the case. I also want to say a big thank you to Dan from Scott Guitars UK, who has built me this rather splendid signature guitar that you saw in the clip of me playing and explaining the solo. Fantastic guitar. I'll link to Dan's website down in the description box as well. But for now, that's pretty much all I've got for you. Hope you enjoyed the video, found it useful, informative, maybe a little bit inspiring. And if you did, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks. Look after yourselves, stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.